Hello friends, it's Cindy Brumbaugh from CindyLeeBDesigns.com, independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator. Today I have a triple easel card. You remember my double easel card I made with the nuts and bolts with those cute little robots. Well, this time I'm making a triple easel. Many different demonstrators have come up with many different designs for these cards. So to give one person credit would be hard to do, but I did see Dawn Griffith with these measurements. So I want to thank her for her measurements there. So here we go. We have these 3 different easels here. And I'm using this adorable Easter Friends stamp set. It's in the January through June 2022 mini catalog right now. And I wanted to just use these 3 little critters here, and it made it a really easy one to do, showcase 3 different images here. So we're just gonna set this aside. Now, as you can see, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 layers here. So to literally go through all of that would be crazy. So you can see all the measurements for this card, all the products I use. Underneath the YouTube description, there are the measurements. There's also a place that says visit my blog here. You press that link and you're taken over to CindyLeeBDesigns.com. You'll find additional photos and all the measurements there. But what I'm going to do is show you the measurements and how you put together the easel mechanism here on this card. And then you can actually, if you want to use the Easter Friends, you could use that stamp set, or you could use any stamp set you have and any designer series paper. These little flowers actually are not in the Easter Friends. They're in the Honeybee Home. These cute little flowers. I needed something for that last little easel there, so that's where that came from. Okay, let's get started here making our 3 easels. Okay, so there's the large easel. And that measurement is, you know, I had 2 of these cut, and this one was all bent, so I don't know why I took the good one. Now this is, to make this card, you're going to be using a 12-inch. So I just happen to have a bunch of black 12 by 12 and a bunch of crumb cake 12 by 12. So that's why I chose to make this card like a neutral based with little pops of color there. So 12 by 12, and it's a good practice to go ahead and order a pack of each of the colors, color families in a 12 by 12 anytime you might need a 12 by 12. Or if you need a 12 by 12, you might be able to just add a 1/2 of an inch onto the end of your card of an 8.5 by 11. I hadn't thought about that, but this one I'm actually starting out with 12 inches by 4. Now, why 4 inches instead of the traditional 4 1/4? Because I can get 3 out of that 12 by 12. So what we're going to do is put it into our scoring tool, and then we are going to score on the 12-inch side at 4. You can use your trimmer for this as well. 6 and 8. And then there's a middle easel, and that one is cut to 3 inches by 9 inches, and you're going to score that at 3, 3, 4.5, and 6. And again, all these measurements are written down for you, typed out for you, so you don't have to worry about it now. The smallest easel is a 2 by 6, 2 by 6, haha, and we're going to score that at 2, 3, and 4. Okay, so we've got our little easels made. Okay, so I think it would be cool just to go ahead and put these easels together here. Okay, so you now have these 2 4-inch portions here. Okay, so if you measured those, you would see that that's 4 inches, then 2, 2, another 4. Okay, so we're going to end up putting adhesive right here. So let's just go ahead and do that, because then it will just kind of make sense to us here. We're going to remember that here, because what we're going to do is be adhering this down, and we're going to be, this is going to be our easel like this. So if you remember this one next to this one, and we're just going to go ahead and put our, I know I have some glue that's just getting ready to say goodbye. So we're just going to glue that down, making sure that both of our sides here are nice and straight. This is a good place to bring out your bone folder here. Okay, so essentially when we fold this back, We're also going to use our bone folder here to get a nice crease there. Then that's going to be our first easel, as you can see here. Normally when I've made easel cards, I put a panel up here, but this one's all connected in with itself. So there's our first easel. Now our second easel, we do this essentially the same way. We're going to put adhesive here. So this is going to go down, back, this way. And if you think about it, it's kind of like this, like a little, like a W or an M. Okay, so we're going to put our glue here. You want to have a good adhesive here because you don't want the easel part. And be careful about putting too much glue, because if the glue smooshes out, it'll go past. It could squish out here. So just make sure you've got it there. Okay, and see, that's making our next easel. And I kind of like doing the easel part first, because then it's so much easier to put everything together. Second easel, third easel, guess what we're gonna do? The same thing. We're gonna put adhesive on this one. Now, what if you put it on the other one? Well, you would just put it together so that as long as you don't put glue on this part or this part, you're gonna be fine. So this is gonna go down here. I'm making sure that my two sides are flush with each other. And then using my bone folder there. And see, just being careful that I didn't have any glue smoosh out there. Okay. So now you can see that once we fold this down, and actually, yeah, that's where you can really kind of see how this comes together. This will be our next easel here. Okay, so one little easel. Let's pop this down here and just get a nice two little easel, and then our large easel. Just making sure we're all there. Okay, so we've got our easels that are going to go together, as you can see here. There we go. I don't know why I have so many shadows going on right now. I think it's because it's evening and I don't have as much natural light up here, so please bear with me. Okay, so if we look on this card here, like I said, I kind of chose the color palette for this card because I had the crumb cake in 12 by 12. I also had it in black, but I just liked the natural tones here of just those neutral colors, and then adding the color with my blends here. So when you go to cut this card, you're going to have a panel, as you'll notice here on this, is you have this is 4 by 4, and so is this 4 by 4. So you're going to cut two blacks, and those black squares are going to be 3 3/4. Okay, they're going to be 3 3/4. So 3 3/4 there, and then you're going to have a 3 3/4 here. Okay, so that would mean your next measurement down, what I did, and I do believe the measurements is I found on another website, was 3 5/8. So okay, so you've got your two panels here. So you're going to put your stamped image here, and that is going to be 3 3/8 by 3 3/8. Blah. 3 5/8 by 3 5/8. That is why you need to look over at the actual written down instructions. But many of you have been very kind to tell me sometimes I mess up my written directions. So I appreciate everyone who tells me when I have a typo. I really appreciate it. So once again, 3 3/4, 3 3/4. Okay, so then the white that's going to go in here for our stamped bunny is 3 5/8 by 3 5/8. By the magic, because like I said, you could sit and watch me do these things, but I went ahead and I stamped my bun, and then I did the bottom part here. Now, the reason why I put these on is because this isn't regular. I love this paper. It's my favorite, you know, the Pattern Party Hostess set in the annual catalog. And it has like the etchings on here are not perfectly straight. So when you're going to put them on, I had to like really put myself over it, and you would have literally been seeing my scrunchy hair or maybe my roots that need colored. So I just went ahead and put them on now. So, but we're gonna have a little bit of fun here, and we are going to color our bunny. And yes, I did already hear it. I'm adhere it to the black, which is good because I won't have any leakage over on there. So I'm just using light crumb cake, and I'm using my brush tip side, and I'm just gonna go over my little bunny. And here, he's so cute. I remember one of my friends calling me right after the catalog came out and said, oh my gosh, that bunny. I heard another demonstrator say how sad the bunny was. And I said, well, I don't know that he's sad. He's just little. He hasn't learned all those things yet. I think of my little granddaughter, how she just looks so innocent. And she just like kind of looks like this little bunny sometime. Till you get her laughing, and then you see when she starts learning all those other things in life that are fun. So we're just kind of coloring in little bunny. I'm just using the light crumb cake because I can always go back and create some, I can always get it lighter. I mean darker when you're using light. And if you start with your blends, and like I am not an artist, Stampin' Up helps me to look like I'm an artist. But some people really have a knack for that. But me, I just kind of color until I don't have streaks because the alcohol blend here. And then we're just gonna go a little darker on the etchings on the bunny. And like I said, I am not an artist, and somebody was kind enough to ask me if I could zoom in on my coloring to teach those techniques. And I said, well, I'm not really that good. I'll just kind of go with, I like the way the stamps have a little bit of etching in it. I see here this bunny, he's a little bit warbly here. And so I just kind of color until I'm happy with what he looks like, knowing that the more I color in, I'm liable to get it to look, now his little face looks a little light. So I'm gonna give him a little bit. You'll notice when you color in a little bit, you have to figure out. And notice how I started light, but I could always go darker. And then you, like I said, you can just go a little darker on some of the etchings, but he is just such a cutie. Okay, so there's my little bunny bun. And then I just stamped some grass on the side, and I went with the black on the grass because I wanted to come back in and just do some green on the black, because it just, to me, when I then stamp that actual image in green, it just looks a little off to me. Okay, so what I wanted to show you here too is something I did for this little sentiment here. Now this sentiment's a little bit lower than I wanted it to be, but that's because I had a fingerprint on there, got a mark on there. Actually, no, it wasn't a fingerprint mark on that. I had stamped something and I turned it over to put the glue on it, and I got something on the bunny from my work surface. Okay, so what I want to show you was this image here is a long image, and it was a little too long for me here. So what I did is I went ahead and I strategically cut it. Nice straight cut, so whenever I want to put it back together, it easily goes back together. But for right now, I want to just layer my friend here. So I'm going to take and stamp friend using my memento, just like I stamped my images in, and I'm going to put friend. Okay, and then I'm going to stamp the my. Okay, and I know that the my, if you don't have a block with a line on it, just put a piece of masking tape or something that, or even a strip of paper, just something that you can see that gives you a horizon line. And then I'm just going to stamp the my. And I know that the my is right where the line is, so I'm going to hope I can get it to stamp in there without overlapping. And there, I got my in there, okay? So And like I said, it's fine to cut your stamps as long as you don't trim them off. Now, if I would have went back in and trimmed off that nip here and this nip here, then I wouldn't have known when I really do want it to be straight. I can put it right back together. I do that a lot. I like it when there's room to actually cut through, because I won't attempt that if there's not enough room and I'm going to cut the word. So now I've got the word my friend, and I just went with one of my punches. I could usually, you know, I still have my punches I'm using, but I can easily punch out my friend with a 1 1/4. Now use your layering circles, use anything that fits around there, and that's going to go there. I'm going to put it up a little bit more so you can see it there, and then I'm going to put a 1 3/8 inch circle around it. Okay, so let's get our glue here and put a little glue on there. Why I didn't put on the back, I don't know. And then put my friend here, and then I can either keep it down there, but I think I could go up a little bit on that. Okay, I'm not putting dimensionals on here because this is going to be a really thick card, and will probably be fine with 1 stamp if you weigh it, but you can also be assured to put a 2nd stamp on it. I don't mind spending over $1 if I've taken the time to make this beautiful card. If I, you know, not complimenting myself, but a fun card, should I say. Okay, so now we know this is going to go on the top here. So why don't we go ahead and put it on there. When I was searching around, something caught my eye, and then I ended up finding this, and then it sends you on another little wild goose chase, and then you find another card, and then all of a sudden you're like, what was I looking for anyhow? And I found another beautiful card that the easels cascade out of the bottom. I think Jan B did it, so I'm going to try to do a video for you guys next week with that one. We'll see if it ends up getting done before next week, but it's a really neat card too. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and put this. There's a really pretty black and white buffalo check also in the pattern party that's really pretty. I almost used it on here, but I wanted to save it for something else. So that's going to be our first easel. So you can see that's our first easel. Okay, and isn't that cool just how it's so natural looking with the neutrals? Okay, so number 1, we've got that done. Now let's work on the second one here. Now the second one was so adorable because we had our little peep, or this is a little duckling, our little duckling. And we also have the cross hatching here with this pattern party. So let's go backwards this time. So let's put no reason why we're going backwards except for I picked it up. Okay, and we're gonna put this right on the bottom of that second easel middle part, and then we're going to color this one. Now, it was funny, I was looking and looking. I'm going to start out my little duckling with some pumpkin pie, dark pumpkin pie for his feet and his beak. Yeah, that's his beak down here too. And I wanted to have my 2 yellows different. So for the duck, I went with the dark Daffodil Delight. And so that gave me, truth be told, when I was doing it, I was like, okay, this is the mama peep, and then the little one's the baby peep, and then all of a sudden I'm looking at colors and I'm like, Cindy, those are 2 different birds. One is a duck and one is a peep. I was actually thinking they were the same, but oh gosh, how goofy. But then, okay, so I'm hoping that's gonna, as I said, I'm not the best colorer, but Stampin' Up does help a lot with their alcohol blends. Just play around with it till it looks good. Okay, so, and see, I'm almost wanting to go out here a little bit, but I don't want to go too much. Okay, so we got little peep. Oh, look at that. I got a little crazy there, but can show you how you can come back here with your color lifter, Now this colors lifts blends. It does not color lift ink from our classic ink pads. Okay, now it looks a little bit wet right here now, but when it dries, you won't see it. If you do see it after it dries, just go back over it again. So we've got our little duckling. So our little duckling, yeah, don't we all wish there was a marker that could get rid of ink marks? Oh, like anytime you get a shadow, you could just go back over and erase it. That would be awesome. Somebody needs to invent that. Okay, we've got our next easel there, okay? And then we've got to do our little one. Our little one is a cute little peep. Cute little peep. We'll go ahead and put this designer series paper. Once again, those measurements, the smallest black is 1 3/4. The middle black is 2 3/4, and the largest black was 3 3/4. And then our images were 1 5/8, 2 5/8, 3 5/8. Okay, so to make that a little different, I went to the light daffodil. And there is definitely a difference with the light. It is a really light, buttery, pastel yellow. And even when you go over it and over it, it still stays, in my opinion, a beautiful light yellow. So it definitely looks different. Even, like I said, even if I went over it a couple times, it wouldn't come out as dark as the dark daffodil blend. And then I just went ahead and also used the pumpkin pie for his little beak and his little tooties down here. Okay, and then I stamped some grass around there too. Got a little crazy there. And then I just came in with some granny apple green and just tried to be artistic. Tried to let my hand just flow. Sometimes when I let it flows right where I don't want it to go. But here we go, is our little peep. And we're gonna put that little peep on this part on our small easel. Okay, see, once you got all your cutting done, it was just boom, boom, boom. It's like an assembly line. Now we can put this together. Oh, but before we start, I want to show you this little cute little flower too. I'm gonna put these down here. Yeah, we'll just lay it over there. Okay, so we've got our 3 easels done, and then we need this little piece here. Now I kept going back and forth trying to decide which one of these looked better. I think they look the same actually. This one is a little bit off, so I'm gonna go with this one. But this one I had did with the thick, you can see it's like the thick Whisper White. So this one, I'm gonna go ahead and use this one because I think it die cut better. But to do that, I just went ahead and doubled it to make it heavier so it could be more substantial for being that place where the, and I'm gonna grab my, here we go. And then I just did that with the Flirty Flamingo light, and I just colored in the flowers. And I just looked through my stamp sets and I was like, I need something that kind of has a sketchiness to it that's small enough to go on that bottom easel, the littlest easel. And so I just happened to see, oh, it's right there in the honeybee. I was thinking, we've got some nice sketchy stamps. And luckily on my, almost my first look, I found something. Okay, so then I just went back with my dark and gave a little extra color there. Okay, now that is going to be what holds up our, so I'm just going to go ahead and put the dimensionals on it now before we get ready to put our card together. Okay, so now we have to do a little work here because as you can see, this card has a back on it, because you could write your message right here, but they might not find the message there. That's how I did it on the other easel cards. So when this is closed, you can go ahead and have the, oh, I hope I didn't, I think I got ink on there. I'm not sure. Let's check and see if that's ink. No, see, that's the times you think it's ink and it's just little goobers everywhere. Okay, so on the back of the card, this is what was going to be the back, but that's actually going to be what we adhere the large easel to. So let me just show you what we're going to do. Okay, so this is going to be the back of our card. So I'm going to put that little peep on the back of the card. Inked up. No edges. I want to see how I did it. Okay, there we go. Got our little peep. And then we're going to put some grass. Now I'm afraid that I'm going to stamp on my mat, so I'm just going to go ahead and protect it a little there. Grass. A little grass there. Little grass up here by his foot. Little grass there. Ooh, I could have got a little darker here, but you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna come back with, no, you know what you can do? Let's see. This is thick, so we'll use this for the inside that we're gonna cover up, and we'll just stamp this again, okay? Haha, that's the nice thing about this thick. I didn't stamp heavy enough. Okay, we've got our little peep, and be a little more careful with the grass, Cindy. Stamp down, there we go. Stamp there, okay. And then I used a sentiment that's in the set. Which one did I use? Sending warm and happy wishes for the spring. So you could either put Happy Easter here, or this one. Maybe I should put Happy Easter, because this is an Easter set. So I'm just gonna line up my Happy Easter on the lines on my stamp block. These are just, they aren't stamping up. I've had them from wherever, but I do end up using them a lot because they have the grid lines. Okay, Happy Easter. And then we're just going to hopefully know that that's, there you go. It fit on just barely. Okay, come back with our light daffodil for a little peeper here. Make sure I cover all the white. Okay. And then we'll just do little beak, little feet, and then do a little granny apple green. There we go. So that is the back of our card. Now we're going to be covering up, and also see, you can see when you color, but that's okay because we're going to be taking this is 4 inches that matches the width of the card, but this is 5 inches, okay? 4 by 5. We're going to put a piece of black 1 high by 4 inches, okay? And that measurement seems a little strange because we're used to 4 1/4, but of course we cut the card down to 4 so we could get 3 pieces out of a 12 by 12, but we cut it down to 5 because that worked with the 4, and using glue, get that so that you can see that it's all, none of it's hanging out the back. And remember, this is our back where we're going to write our message. And now we're going to put this easel, the larger easel, we're just going to adhere it to here, and now we have a 5-inch card. See that? Now our card is 5 inches. It works well because this is 4 1 inch. You could, if you went 4 1/4 to make it a longer card, then you would want this to be 4 1/4, but we're trying to use 3 pieces of paper out of 12 by 12. So that's why we have it that way. So what we're gonna do is put our glue on this section. Like I said, thankfully we were able to, and I'm only going around the edges because you're gonna write your message in there and you don't want squiggles. So we're just going to, let's just open this up a little bit here. We're going to just put that right up against the black and just make sure that our crumb cake is going right alongside the white. Okay, and I have just got all kinds of goobers. Okay, so that's the back. That's our first easel. Now you'll be thinking, where does the second easel go? So when you go to put the second easel on, what you're going to do is you're just going to kind of get a nice border on the left and the right side, and then the bottom side is about the same amount there, okay? So we're going to put the glue on, no, it goes on the whole back of this panel because it's all getting adhered down. Here we go. Put our glue on there. And if we want, we can close the whole card up there. Okay, close it so we have the square. Then we can just gauge that we have a nice, pleasing to the eye, left and right border and a bottom border. So that is Mr. Duckling. And then he holds up Mr. Bunny. Okay, so now the next thing we're gonna do is put on our little peep. The little peep, you also are going to try to keep these as straight as possible too. If you're finding that, no, that is straight, it's just looking. If you need to, just take that bone folder and make that cardstock know who is boss. Okay, so we're gonna put our glue once we can get it out of our container. We are, I'm sorry, my kids not yell at me, laugh at me. My husband laughs at me if I'm always trying to conserve things. But this one is gonna go flush with the bottom of the card with the same amount of space on each side, but flush with the bottom. And I'm gonna show you here, I'm gonna work a little more this way because I wanna make sure I don't have any black showing there. And just remember, things don't have to be perfect. They don't have to be perfect. Now, anyone who knows me would say, right, Cindy, practice what you preach. And one thing about this card, when you get it done, if you put it under a couple books, it'll keep it nice and flat. So whenever the people get it, it really makes a nice easel. So now the thing we have to do is put our flowers on there. And that's easy peasy. Just figure out where you want those flowers to be and which way did I do them. And if you just want, you could just put a button here, not a button, because that is a little harder to go through the mail if you're not hand delivering it or getting it hand canceled. You could put just a small flower. Just find something that's sketchy, or find something that will match with whatever stamp set you've decided to use for this. Is this just adorable or what? And then, like I said, you just close the card, and it's not too heavy to mail. And then on the back, oh golly, this has got all kinds of little things. Okay, you've got your place to write the message. So a happy Easter, or this could be just a nice card to send for spring, you know, when people are really getting tired of the snow and the cold. So there you go, a triple easel card. You'll see these all over Pinterest. Once you search for them, you'll see all kinds of fun stamp sets. I wanted to use a new stamp set, and as you can see here, this is how the easel looks. Of course, it's not cooperating right now because it was just made, but it's 3 easels, triple easel, and then this one you'll notice does stay up a little better because I did put it underneath the couple heavy books I have here. So there we go. Is that adorable or what? So I am knowing that I can probably find measurements to use for 8.5 by 11, but this did start out using a 12-inch by 4-inch. So it was 4 inches by 12, and that what we did is scored it at 4, 6, and 8. And then we did that other one 3 by 9, and we scored at 3, 4.5, and 6. And then the smallest one was 2 by 6, and we scored at 2, 3, and 4. And then that just put together the 3 easels that we made. I hope you enjoyed doing this. I hope you will try making one of these easel cards using some different stamp sets that you might have. Hopefully you can see them well enough in the video. I'll have some photos on my blog, so pop over there, subscribe to my blog. I like to post Monday, Wednesday, Friday with a video on Wednesday on YouTube. Subscribe to my YouTube channel and you'll be notified each time I make a video, and I like to do that on Wednesdays. If you have any questions, please comment in the YouTube comments, or you can email me at cindyleeb@gmail.com, or you can call or text me at 724-323-2296. Thanks for buzzing by, friends.